Hey there, this is Clint. Wanted to get to y'all here and talk a little bit about this Mustang I came across. It's this 1973 Mustang. It does have a Marty report with it here, and what's interesting about this Mustang I came across is that the options, some of the neat options that I really like on it is the rear seats. We're equipped with, it says 27 were equipped with sport deck rear seats. It has the fold down rear seat package. That's pretty wild. Out of 134,867 73 Mustangs, it's one of 27. Wow, pretty interesting. It has other options as well that are in here that make it rare, but you can see some of these options are very cool. It's always nice looking at a Marty report when you're talking Mustangs. So let's take a look at this Mustang itself. Well, here it is. Here's the Mustang. It's out in the corner here. This is a 1973 Mustang. It's in pieces. There's a story behind this Mustang. The story is it was driven as a daily driver for a long time, and then about approximately 2001 or so, or 2000, year 2000, it was taken apart to be restored. Well, you can see how that went. It was taken apart and it was never put back together. So you can see all the parts here, pretty interesting. Here's the fenders. They're pretty solid. I mean, they do need a few things to clean them up. Looks like there's a piece of tape on this fender right there. The dash pad though, I'm looking at that looks in great shape. Very surprised. Most of the dash pads, what happens is they end up developing cracks. Not this one. This one looks pretty solid. This is the transmission that would go with it. This is originally a 351 Cleveland car with a C6 automatic transmission. There's the C6 automatic transmission right there. There's a radiator. There's also up there, I was told, the radiator up in that box. The radiator up in that box there, I think it's an aluminum. I'm not totally sure, but they told me when I purchased this car that it was another radiator that they're planning on running in the vehicle. Here's all the suspension components, and there's still some more that I haven't been able to pull out. Just pulled out a few of the parts just to kind of see everything blown out in a blown out proportion. It helps to see what you have. There's your, looks like the calipers. Nice. It's obviously a disc brake setup. You can see the spindles there. There's your air cleaner. There's the fan, as I'm running into parts right now. Here we go right here, some more parts. There's the hood hinges. There is the rubber bumper. That's really cool. It looks like it's in pretty good shape. They also gave me several parts here, 2 different front valances there. The car itself is pretty solid. It has surface rust and spots, and it has a few rust holes, but it's not a rusty car. It's very easily to be restored. If you look at this car, it's pretty restorable. I mean, look at that thing. Just a lot of surface rust here and there. It's very solid though. You don't have huge holes coming through. The holes that are mainly in this are either holes that were drilled or the holes that would hold the bolts that were made from the factory. Of course, there might be a few small rust holes, but for the most part, it's surface rust. This car is pretty solid. Let's walk around the other side. Here's the other side of the engine bay of the 73 Mustang Mach 1. There's the door. Door looks pretty solid. As you can see right here, this thing was hit with hail. In Wiley, this car sat outside before as it was going to be restored in pieces. Well, there was a big hailstorm that came through, and this part of the vehicle was hit. You can see here with the broken glass in the front here, the windshield was shattered. Luckily, looks like these side glasses here were rolled down. So, but the rest of the car, it was hit. You can see the dents right there, but that can be repaired. I mean, look at the dents right there. That definitely can be repaired. Right here, you can see the hood. What I was told is they did some work up to the front of the hood as they installed They wanted to put in the pins, the hood pins, so they drilled holes for those hood pins. But that's the Mach 1 hood. They had this vehicle painted red. I remember seeing it on the road. Some more parts, tail lights, water pump. Just didn't blow out it. I didn't pull out all the parts out of these boxes. Just would have been just too much of a mess to put back together. But pretty much this car has most of the items here. Let's take another view here of the items from this view. Let's take a look here at the fold down rear seat. Wow, look at that thing. Pretty wild. That's a rare setup right there for a Mustang. Again, the 73 Mustang Mach 1. It is pretty solid. I mean, this door over here, this door looks pretty good. It didn't look like it got hit by the hail. But up here, of course, right here, you can see the hail hit. Hail damage, look at that. You can see another view of some of the hail damage here. This trunk lid here, that's going to need to be replaced. Let me take a quick picture. You can see right here in the trunk lid, it's dented pretty bad from the hail, so that's going to need to be replaced. The rear glass is intact. There's the rear glass, that famous slanted glass. Of course, we have the Mach 1 wing and the pedestals to go with it. There's some rear seat interior pieces. There's some bumpers, a couple rear bumpers that they gave me when I got the vehicle. The rear dual exhaust valance. The trunk is actually very solid. There's a small patch in the trunk that was done, but overall the trunk is pretty solid. There's some stainless pieces. A lot of the interior pieces I tried to lay inside the car. This right here looks like some splash shields, but as you can see, it's very solid. This vehicle is very solid. So let's pull these back. There you go. There's some console pieces. Just a lot of the interior I put in the car just so that it was easy to locate. Let's open up the door. Look at the inside of this door. Pretty solid. Here it is again. Here you go. There's the console, the center console that it came with. There's the dash. And all the gauges have been pulled out, as you can see right here. The gauge cluster piece. Here's the shifter. Let's pull this out. Let me pull out some of this stuff so we can take a look at the floors. So here's the 73 Mustang Mach 1. Here are the floors. You can see here the floors have some surface rust, but they're pretty solid. Pretty solid floors. Let's even move some of these leaves out. This was outside a little bit, so it did, get some leaves and stuff in it, but pretty solid. Obviously dust from me swinging things around. Floors back here, pretty solid. Solid floors. Even on the other side, it's similar. Look back here, floors are solid. Back is solid. It's a solid car. It needs some minor repairs here and there, but it's not a very rusty car. It's not one of these rust buckets. It's a very solid Texas car. So, pretty cool Mach 1. 73 Mach 1. I was able to find here, look at these gauges. They're the gauges there that would go in it, that were taken out. And you can see the little piece right there on the center console. But yep, so all the parts, a lot of the parts are probably here to build the car. I know the people that had this vehicle before, and I remember seeing it drive up and down the street. They hot rodded it, had a good time. There's not a numbers matching engine with this vehicle. I do not believe the transmission is numbers matching as well, but it's a 1973 Mustang Mach 1 351 Cleveland car, minus the 351 Cleveland. Needs to get a 351 Cleveland, and it does have the C6 automatic transmission. It's definitely a solid builder. I'm actually thinking about, selling this thing. But it's a cool car. I like it. My first car was a 1973 Mustang convertible with a 351 Cleveland and a FMX transmission. So this would not be far from it, considering that this is, I believe, the same color mine was, which was a dark green color. So there you have it. 1973 Mach 1 Mustang.